Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Maddox AI and Customer Success Summit. You are currently watching AI and the CSM, the day-to-day of leveraging AI in the customer journey. So I am excited to introduce our speakers, and I will introduce, and as I introduce them, I'm going to have them answer our icebreaker question, which is, what would you use AI to automate in your life outside of work? So first we have Spencer Davison, Head of Technical Account Management at Matic, who will also be our moderator for this panel. So hello, Spencer.
Hey everyone, really excited to have this conversation today. If I could automate anything, this is going to sound kind of lame, but I think it would be like dinner reservations. Live in Chicago, there's a lot of good food. So if I could just automate that whole process, that would be great.
I like it, great. And next we have Connell Valentine, Director of Technical Services and Customer Success at RideCo. Welcome, Connell.
Thanks, Jessica, and hello to everyone. So if I were to use AI for anything right now, I've just recently joined chess.com and I've started my journey in chess. And if anyone has tried to play chess, you'd know how it's one of the most frustrating journeys to be on, especially when you're just starting out. I think the app does a great job of letting me know what mistakes I'm making in real time, but what I'd like it to do is to actually just track the patterns and trends of the games I've played across my time and suggest where I am weak. So that'll help me hopefully improve my game.
I like it. Very good. Thanks, Connell. And next we have Daphne Costa Lopez, Head of Customer Success UKI at Hubspot. Welcome, Daphne.
Thanks, Jessica. It's great to be here. Uh, I was torn between two things when I was thinking about this question, but one of the things I'm really passionate about is travel. And I put a lot of thought into travel. I love really thinking about where I stay and where to visit and the itinerary for every day. So if I could get AI to really design this for me, but not only just give me the recommendations, but book everything for me. All I need to do is show up in the day with my passport. That is what I'd love.
I love that answer. I would use that as well. Great. And then next we have Farzan Farmarzi, Enterprise Customer Success Manager 2 at Glassdoor. Welcome, Farzan.
Thank you, Jessica, and hello, everyone. This is a really good question. So personally, I'm involved in various community work, outreach, and activism outside of my job. And I believe an AI assistant could be a great help in managing these tasks.
Very good. And then last but not least, we have Ryan Seams, Senior Director of Customer Success and Services at Mixpanel. Welcome, Ryan.
Hi, thank you, Jessica. Hello to everybody out there. For me, my mind immediately jumps to where do I spend the most time, or what am I most passionate about? And I think on the time side of things, automating driving would be very beneficial. So the whole driverless cars revolution is very interesting for that. And then on the passion side, I'm really into triathlons. And so if there was a way for me to just automate the whole training schedule, what to eat, when, how to go to bed, all of that stuff, it would be ideal so that I don't spend hours of my time daily doing the same thing. So.
Very good. Good answers. All right. Well, great. Thank you, everyone. And so before we start the session, just a friendly reminder to please add any questions you have to the Q&A, which can be found in the Zoom controls bar. We will spend the last 10 to 15 minutes answering your questions. All right. So over to you, Spencer.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Love those answers. I hope TripAdvisor is listening to this and we get some AI itinerary travel all automated in the future. Great. So As mentioned, today we're really going to focus on the customer and how AI is going to transform, improve, and just generally change the customer relationship you have. So this could be day-to-day interactions, bigger scope planning, anything. So we've got a great set of questions here that we're going to ask the panel and really look for their expertise in working with customers and how they think AI is going to impact that. So we'll get kicked off here with our first question, which is just kind of setting the context. And that's, how do you anticipate customer interactions changing with AI? So again, there's a lot of different ways that this could impact us, but looking forward to the answers here. And Daphne, I'd love to have you get started with this one, if you want to share your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Spencer. Gosh, there's so many ways I think that the customer experience is just going to change in general, but I like to maybe think about this in two different buckets. So the first bucket is like how we service our customers. So I think what we're seeing already is AI is a co-pilot to all of the people that provide services to our customers. We're also seeing bots. So a lot of that stuff that's already out there today, I think is going to get better and better. Our bots are going to get more sophisticated with better answers. Our people are going to be able to access the right information faster, prepare for calls in a better way, generate presentations automatically, like all of that good stuff that we're already seeing. I think it's just going to get better. But the other bucket is perhaps one that is a little bit more futuristic. But I heard the CTO in Hubspot talk about this, and it really kind of flipped my thinking about AI, is the use of interfaces. So today, we have customers that come to our product and they have to click through our product, right? They need to understand the workflow, the interface in order to get stuff done. So in HubSpot, if there's a CRM, if you want to go and create a contact or create a deal, you need to know what buttons to click to go and do that. And generative AI really showed us that there is this really easy path for people to adopt products, which is like a more natural way of interacting, which is conversational, right? So you are able to come in a chat environment and say to the CRM, instead of having to click through and say, I just talked to Stephen from Matic. I think there's an opportunity there. I'd love to create him as a contact. Like you can literally like write as if you're talking to the CRM, and the CRM is going to go and update all of those things for you, create the contact, maybe create the deal, suggest a next task for you. And with that, I think adoption of product is going to be much more, it'll be faster, it'll be accelerated, because people are going to be able to interface with many products using conversational interfaces versus actually having to learn how to click through the product. I think that would be a really cool thing. I mean, I use many platforms every single day, and I've gotten used to actually navigating them, but I'm sure I'm not making the most use of everything that I have because I just don't know how to. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how interfaces will change.
Love that. Yeah, I think there's massive opportunity for just learning about workflows and how those workflows can be automated or optimized. There's obviously blind spots in any workflow, and I think that's going to be a huge impact. I'd love to pass it over to you, Connell, if you have any thoughts here that you want to share around how customer interactions might change.
Yeah, so in our industry, we're predominantly working with high touch customers. And what I think where AI could really help is with personalization. And we think about how we want to analyze our customers' results, and NPS and CSAT are like one of the two predominant metrics that we in customer success look at. But our CSMs are constantly under the pressure of taking care of more clients with the same volume of headcount, right? And they're struggling for time in order to have that world-class customer service if they're handling more and more clients. So I think that personalization piece of when AI is looking at our high-touch customers and are able to provide our CSMs with that suggestive knowledge beforehand is something where I think customer interactions will change. I think we've been told by our salesperson that don't let your QBR be just another report card, right? Every customer interaction is a sales opportunity, right? We're all in sales at the end of the day, so we're always selling, yeah. So that, and nothing sells better than making your customers feel like you personally know them. But getting to personally know people takes time and resources, and this is where I think AI can definitely help. Well, that's for high touch, but for tech touch customers, we're all familiar with Amazon, and how suggestive they can be when you purchase products. So that's really popular. And I've seen Bain and Company's a popular management consulting firm. They did a survey of 30,000 banking customers in like 11 countries. So even in the banking industry, that survey confirmed that more personalization, even in the banking industry, led to higher NPS scores. The other way I can think where our interactions with customers would change in tech touch is email marketing campaigns. These days when you buy a product, you can almost tell that no matter what, you're going to get the same emails coming at you over the course of the next couple of weeks, right? But I think those email marketing campaigns that are triggered through AI guided knowledge would certainly help take that personal touch with the customer to the next level.
Yeah, I think that's one, like, a really interesting way to think about AI, where it's not necessarily automating things for you, but it's going to upskill you, make you more knowledgeable, so you can get more personalized interactions and touch points with your customer. I hadn't even thought about the email tech touch, but I think that actually makes a lot of sense, where it could kind of learn the language that has the best metrics in terms of open rates and click-throughs, and then sort of adopt that and use that to create better, more personalized emails. Farzan, I'd love to hear your thoughts here as someone that's on the front line, so to speak, on how this might change your customer interactions.
Thank you, Spencer. So with the customer interaction, I think, as Daphne mentioned, customer experience is really important for us as a CSM. And to add that, delivering value to customers is always top of mind for any CSMs. To achieve that, we need to be strategic, and we need to manage multiple tasks while being flexible. With AI, we can automate some tasks. As a matter of fact, we can automate many admin tasks. So CSM can be focused on delivering the ROI. For example, Matic that we use here at Glassdoor has this presentation enhancer tool. And this AI can write the executive summary for your presentation as well as talk tracks. And I've seen this firsthand, how this saves time on my end and enables me to focus on more strategic areas, and how the client enjoys receiving these, executive summary and the bullet points in advance. Usually, you have, especially when you have a large team, for example, from different departments, it is really helpful to, feed these, bullet points in advance a few days before the call, so different people can look at this email and get familiar of what to expect when they are joining the call to go over the QBR or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real point there is it's gonna get rid of a lot of the busy work, which is what you mentioned. There's a lot of just repetitive tasks that AI would, could potentially replace, and then you can focus on the more strategic efforts. Ryan, I'd love to hear your thoughts here, as someone that's working with CSMs on a regular basis, and really trying to think about the future with their customer interactions.
Yeah, at Mixpanel, we're a product-led growth company. And so we have this really long tail of accounts that all spend a little bit each month with us. And, traditionally you would just keep hiring more CSMs, right, to cover more and more of these accounts and have a bigger and bigger book of business. And I think what's really exciting about AI, right, is the overall number of customer interactions should actually start going down, we won't have as many one-to-one human interactions because AI can actually automate a lot of the best practices and guiding the user through a workflow, et cetera, without needing, someone on my team to go and speak with them. And to, what Farzan said, to build on that, you could actually spend that time and be a lot more proactive and strategic with that account, right? Versus spending a lot of your time just educating users on the basics of using the product or setting it up or the implementation. You could actually take that time and go, spend it on much more strategic activities. And so we talk a lot about this internally where, you don't want to do the same call over and over and over as a CSM. It's not exciting for you. It's not super valuable for the customer. That's what AI is going to solve for, right? All of those things that are very repetitive will be something AI can solve for, and you can go spend your time on the more strategic, exciting, creative part of the job.
Yeah, and I think, what does AI do best? It handles repetitive tasks, it learns. And what CSMs do best is build relationships and really focus on the bigger picture. So the more CSMs can be kind of dragged away from the former and into a more of a relationship sale, I think that's going to be really impactful. Great. I'd love to jump to the next question, and I think you sort of answered this indirectly in the last one, but Connell, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what are some of the big problems that CSMs face today that by using AI could potentially improve?
Yeah, so what I've, as I mentioned in the last question, like you said, the constant challenge of being able to take more care of more clients with that high touch, high quality experience that they get, it starts to get more challenging as the customer base for a CSM grows. Yeah. They're struggling with, I've seen QBRs then either getting delayed or even canceled, lack of prep time to have those quality meetings, and the scope of who we consider high stake customers starts to get thinner, right? Just because we don't have the resources. And in a perfect world, we'd have nothing but high touch customers, right? But the only reason we don't is due to the lack of resources. And adding on to that, it's just the avalanche of data that the CSMs sometimes need to sift through. Like we ourselves in the industry that we are in, we have over 40 KPIs, to measure the success of a client. And our CSMs can probably agree on like the top 5, but then beyond that, it deviates into everyone having their own opinion. So I think generative AI can certainly help by creating customer summaries for CSMs before they go into their QBR, before their meetings. Things you can imagine a world where they get emailed 3 hours before their next client meeting, with the summary saying, here's what's going on with this customer's health, here's their engagement, here's their adoption, go get them.
Yep.
I think that's a really great world that I can see that we're living in. And Gainsight this year at Pulse, they announced enhancements to their existing Horizon AI, with this new generative AI capabilities that they have, which includes things like cheat sheets and survey takeaways and things like that. So that's really, really helpful. So I think every customer defines success in different ways. There's no one size fits all. But I think AI generated health scores would certainly help, where weighting is decided based on input from the client during onboarding, along with, your own organization's best practices.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head with the biggest issue, which is prioritization and resource constraints. Like you said, we'd all like to treat every customer with a white glove experience, but that comes at a cost. But if you can get close to that with automation and recommendations, then everyone's going to benefit. Your company, the customer, and ideally that'll lead to more commercial oriented conversations. Daphne, I'd love to throw this one back to you on some of the biggest problems CSMs face probably pretty well. So I'd love to hear how you think this is going to this kind of revolution is going to improve some of those problems.
Yeah, I think in HubSpot, one of the things that we do is we have a bimodal strategy, right? We have large customers, but we also have the long tail that Ryan was talking about of many, many free customers or starter customers that we need to service. And honestly, I think not just HubSpot, but many companies out there today, they really look at the customer journey in as two separate. One the digital journey, and then the other one the high touch human led journey. And many teams are split like as a digital team or a high touch CSM team. In that high touch CSM, you might have a pooled model and a like dedicated CSM model, but like those things are pretty compartmentalized. I think what I'm excited about is to build on what Connell said is this ability to be dynamic and meeting the customer where they are with what they need. So whether you are a large customer or whether you're a very small customer, if you're going through a challenge, let's say an adoption challenge, your usage has gone down for your use case, you can compare that to the data on what does that customer look like based on the customers like them. Same industry, same region, same size. And what do customers that are high performing in those cohorts, what do they do? And can we match recommendations to that? And you can meet them where they are when that happens. So they don't have to wait a month until they meet a CSM for their regular touch point to have that conversation.
Yep.
As soon as it drops, that will come to them as enablement and will help them overcome those challenges. So I think like what AI will do, and hopefully in most companies, we're going to see this convergence of the three different experiences, the human-led, the pooled, and the digital coming together, being supercharged with AI that will meet customers where they are as those challenges happen. And on the flip side, I think in CS, we talk a lot about risk, right? Customers that are like adoption drops or, something goes wrong. But conversely, what does great look like? What is a customer that has high propensity for growth looks like? And how can we nurture that growth in an educational way to build the customers, to build demand so that they're ready for an expansion, whether that is a cross-sell, whether that's an upsell? Like, how can we nurture and do that on an ongoing basis, not just when a CSM does a QBR and says, here's a great opportunity that we should be discussing. Like the customer is getting information like that all of the time. They're getting it in app, they're getting in their inbox, they're getting from their CSM. So ideally you have like this really rounded experience, not just for the point of contact that a CSM would have as well, like the decision maker or the business the user, but actually across all of the users. So I'm excited about like being able to be everywhere all at once with CS.
I love the way you frame that, and I think the way I was when you were talking, I was thinking that it's almost like a sidekick or like another person on your account team. And I think that's kind of the best things you get, but even just like writing into ChatGPT when you get an answer that provides a different perspective that, oh, I didn't think about it that way. So it's not just maybe automating a task, but it's giving you a different lens to be the customer, view their health, and give recommendations that you can rely on. Awesome. I'd love to kind of now go a little, we went kind of big picture and now wanted to kind of get like day to day. So I'd love to think about just, if you think about like day in, day out for a CSM, those workflows, how do you think AI, and it could be any type of AI, will change their kind of day-to-day interactions with customers, their day-to-day workflows? And I'd love to kind of pass this on to Farzan, who is in customer success and has probably put a lot of thought into this already.
Thank you, Spencer. One part was, I think in your first question, I answered about the reporting and, using the AI to generate these executive summaries and give us like, really a condensed version of the report. But the other one is about the task management and how can AI can help us. For example, if you are keeping track of notes in Salesforce or another CRM, this tool, I mean, even like the Matic AI can be a big help in creating detailed notes. So while the tool writes the executive summary for you using the AI, you can take care of a pressing matter or an urgent email or jump on a quick call with another client, and without needing to worry about finding the time to write the summary, right? If you're looking for ways to make your client calls more productive, there's this tool that we use. You might consider using, tools like Zoom IQ, which we use here at Glassdoor, or Gong has the same capability. They are great because they give you a really good summary of your conversation and even offer some tips on how you improve. I know, for example, Daphne, you were talking about improving the technology and the client, but these tools can improve your career and personal growth as well. So for example, with Zoom IQ, you don't have to worry about taking notes during the call. The AI does that for you. This means that you can really focus on your customers and give them your full attention. In addition, Zoom IQ and Gong can give you a lot of helpful insights about your calls. You can find out how fast you speak, how long you talk during the call, and how much time you spend listening. This tool is great for you as well as your manager and management team, because they can see and highlight the areas where you can improve your communication skills, which is one of a very important skills for any CSM.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to just the blind spots that everyone has. There's so many things going on in the world of a CSM, and you don't have visibility to everything. So if it can kind of fill in those blind spots and give you more perspectives, better view into the customer, it's going to help the customer and your business. Awesome. I'd love to kind of go. This all sounds great, but obviously there's going to be challenges along the way. And so I'd love to talk about what some challenges you anticipate or are currently experiencing when kind of using AI in either tools that exist today, or challenges you could foresee in the future with tools that are kind of on it could be developed one day. And so I'd love to pass this back to you, Ryan, on what's some challenges you kind of foresee in using AI.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the real obvious one is more around just privacy and security, right? If you're, using your company's financial information, your customer data, your user data, et cetera, and feeding that right into some AI model, you have to have the right security and privacy constraints around that, so that, the model isn't learning from that proprietary information. And so I think there's probably a lot of work to be done just more on the security and legal side of things to, get some of these larger companies having their whole CSM team using AI. And I see that's kind of one of the questions maybe in the Q&A as well. I think beyond that, I think one of the biggest challenges, right, is that if AI ultimately is really successful, people will fear for their jobs. And you will think like, ultimately, if this thing works really well, I won't have a job here. And I do think that's one of the biggest challenges to get someone to adopt something like AI, is that if it's going to, automate a bunch of the stuff that you think you do day to day that's valuable, what am I going to do next? And I think it's an exciting challenge, because you can actually go and do the creative, proactive, what I consider fun part of the job, and less of the administrative tasks that you might have to do day to day. But I do think for many people, right, that is going to be a challenge that's going to be a hard one to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit two really important things there, which is security, which is always top of mind whenever you're sending data to anything. And then, I mean, is this like a friend or enemy for my potential career? And we'll get to that kind of that thought in a bit here. But I'd love to hear from you, Daphne, in terms of what challenges you're currently experiencing, or what you anticipate could be a challenge in the future.
Yeah, I will say that I'm very lucky with HubSpot. They've made a big bet in AI. what Ryan was saying about creating that ring-fenced environment where you're not training the data. That's something we've done early. It's already available for us. We have started building an app called Chatspot, which is a little bit of that interface work that I was talking about, like really just helping people have conversations with the CRM versus having to update everything. There's AI in our product, and HubSpot has a marketing tool, and what Connor was talking about in generating emails, that's something we're already doing. So HubSpot is like really at the edge of already leveraging and utilizing this type of technology. So I'm very proud of that. I think our leadership team has made like serious investments up front, and I see a question in the Q&A there, like, making the right investment is this is not small, right? I think it's important to consider. Now, in terms of challenges, I do think that I kind of echo what Ryan said about people being afraid and not really necessarily wanting to adopt. The one thing I'm going to say to people on this call, or people that are going to listen to this recording, is like, the cat is out of the bag, right? It's happening, and it's moving fast. And if your leadership team makes that decision, like independently of whether you decide to adopt this or not, like it's one of those strong forces that just comes and wipes it, because nobody needs you to buy into AI for AI to be running in the back of the systems. Only the leadership team needs to buy into it, truly. So I would say that the challenge of AI with embracing it and really leveraging to maximize your own career, your own development, I think is one that everybody should embrace. Then the other thing I'm really kind of afraid of is, again, being in the marketing industry, we already get a lot of emails and a lot of content in our inboxes that we don't want to open, right? I get, honestly, my personal email is a little bit of a mess. I'll be honest here, I'll be a bit vulnerable. When I open my email every morning, I think I have over 80 to 100 emails from things that I either signed up to ages ago, or maybe I didn't sign up. Somebody bought a list and my name was there and they were marketing to me. With people being able to create content at the velocity and the speed in which AI can create content, I really fear this high volume of really crap content hitting people's inboxes and immediately losing value, right? Like people will no longer open those things. So I think we have to be careful with how much content we send to our customers. We don't want to spam people. We want to help them. We want people to pay attention to what we say. So I think that volume piece is something we need to watch carefully.
I think that's a great point. You don't want your customers to get cynical when it comes to, who's giving me this recommendation, who's sending me this. Is it just a robot, or is it someone that's really thinking about my experience? And I think that's something. I mean, we've already seen today with news articles being generated with AI, and some of the negative feedback those outlets have gotten. So I think that's a really good point. We're running close, almost out of time, and I think you may have answered this already, but I'd love to just go round robin and just think about that question on is AI a threat? And kind of what your perspective is today, and then maybe in the future. So, Connell, I'd love to throw it back to you and get your thoughts here.
Yeah, I can already picture a couple of folks on my team saying, what about my Tableau and Power BI dashboards and the things that we've been doing. But yeah, I think the biggest threat is people feeling that their jobs are going away. A large part of what people do traditionally is very ops related. But I think the way to mitigate that threat is it goes back to leadership and fostering the kind of culture which promotes problem solving and creativity over all the operational work. The operational work will always exist. It'll never go away. But I think having kind of leadership that is always embracing change, always thinking about what's next, and utilizing resources by having them take on tasks that are more problem solving in nature, the more creative in nature. I don't think any amount of AI is going to get rid of problems that a company faces. As a company grows and expands, it brings new problems with it. And we need problem solvers and creative thinkers to get to those.
Yep. We're about to get to the Q&A, and Ryan and Daphne, you sort of already answered this, but I'd love to hear Farzan's perspective here on the threat or potential threat of AI.
I think what it reminds me this time, talking about AI, it reminds me of the time of the Industrial Revolution. Back then, people were afraid of, with all these factories and everything, they're going to lose jobs and everything, but it actually created more jobs. So today, with OpenAI, you can write an article, to your point, but you should know how to write a right prompt to OpenAI or ChatGPT to get the right answer. So it means that you need to be more technical, more strategic, and more adaptable. So yes, that could be challenges and risks, but I see more opportunities.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of when like Excel was first invented and how many jobs that was potentially putting in risk, but it's not like there's any fewer accountants. I think a lot of these things, they move an industry forward, and it's probably less likely that it'll actually cost jobs in the long run. So I think that's a good perspective there. And again, yeah, you can't put the cat back in the bag too. Great. So thank you all for answering these questions. Some really great insights there. I'd love to just pass it off to the Q&A though, and see what some of our attendees think. Awesome.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Spencer.
You're good.
I'll go ahead and thanks. I'll go ahead and ask some of the questions that we've gotten in, and thank you all so much for this dialogue. There's been some really interesting insights, and we've got some great questions in from the attendees as well. So one of those is, what are your top 3 AI tools for CSMs to start using today?
Can you say ChatGPT 3 times in a row? No, in all seriousness, ChatGPT I think is a fantastic co-pilot. Like we talked about, making sure you're ring fencing your environment to not train the larger model with your company's private proprietary information is important. Now, the likelihood of the model spitting out that one answer that one of your customers gave based on the volume of data is very low, but even then it's not ethical, so we shouldn't do it. But I think ChatGPT is great for, like, for example, if you are preparing for a call and you have a persona in an industry that you're not super familiar with, and you're trying to brainstorm, what are their challenges? What do they struggle with? What are they interested in learning? I think it's a really great tool to do that. Even if you don't have that ring fencing that we're talking about, you can already use it for that. But if you do have the ring fencing, then summarizing your emails, follow-ups, summarizing your CRM notes, like, you can just do so much in there. And then the other AI use less than it's not as much of a tool as it is like actually having a team that actually codes and builds machine learning and AI, is actually building smart alert systems that can really look at all of your product data, understand what your customers are, how are they behaving, and then spit out to you like, what is risk, what is opportunity. I think a tool that do that well is Hook. I haven't used Hook myself, but I have seen demos of Hook. In HubSpot, we've built that from the ground, obviously big investment, but I think Hook is, it looks to me like the tool that's closest to doing that, like really taking your product data and giving you insights. So those would be my 2 top AI tools.
Yeah, if I have to go with another 2, I would say Grammarly Go is a good one, because it doesn't write anything for you, but sometimes you are delivering this really tough news or having this hard conversation over email, And a lot of things can get lost. And this tool can get you set the right tone. So I love to play with different tone. And the other one that I enjoy, and I mentioned that, is Zoom IQ. It gives me all the stats. I know, okay, where the action items, everything is summarized, and I have it in one email, so I can take it and then, you know, do the rest afterward.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to turn this into like a day of the life in the CSM, right? Like you're sending some emails, you're going to use a tool like autobound.ai to help personalize those and make them really cool. You're prepping for a meeting, you're probably messaging ChatGPT, who is this person, what's going on with their company, summarize some key themes. You're hosting a meeting, so Zoom IQ, Clary Copilot, Update AI, somebody's summarizing that meeting with action items and what you should do next. After that meeting, you're brainstorming. What should I do? What's my plan for this customer? You're probably chatting with ChatGPT. What would you advise here or there? And then, you know, you're actually going and executing and following up. And so there's like different tools along that whole journey. And then, you know, to Daphne's point, there's these more holistic tools that'll help you analyze a lot of your data and tell you, you know, what are those lookalike customers that are really good and what are those ones that are in a bad place that you need to go focus your time on. And there's lots of tools there, Hook, but top line AI, there's also Heads Up as well. Those are all some tools that would help you there.
Yeah, just to add on to, hopefully I'll answer Dan's question to me as well. Although I haven't used the tool, but I've read a lot about it. But I guess any tool that helps you, just like Gainsight's Horizon AI, to actually look at your customers' data. And when it comes to that personalization, you know, it could look like you're getting into a client meeting and you're saying, you know, thanks, Spencer, you know, you attended nearly all of our last webinar, and shows that your adoption rate is like currently you're using 80% of our tools. So that's really great. These are the kind of personalization that can certainly help facilitate, you know, conversations that CSMs will have with their high-touch customers.
Great. Thank you all for your responses there. We'll go ahead and try to get another question in. So another question that came in that's interesting is, do you have concerns about AI automation becoming the same nuisance as interactive voice response or IVR systems when it comes to regular communication?
Yeah, I think Daphne kind of alluded to this with you know, just the amount of emails people get. But yeah, I'd love to hear some other people's thoughts here.
I assume we're talking about the phone menu where you got to go in and be like, please guide me to this person. And you're just pressing 0 over and over again to talk to the human, and it like never works. I mean, I think, look, like AI should be a lot smarter than that. So the hope is it could actually solve, you know, 80-90% of your use cases there, and it will be faster. I think there's always going to be a need for like a human at the end of that line, right? If there's something unique or specific that needs to go and get resolved. But I mean, from my perspective, I would hope that it's a lot smarter. And if it's not, I'm sure that we'll keep iterating until it is.
Yeah, you know, I made a reference to one of the challenges, or maybe but one of the challenges I find with AI is having that knowledge base, right? It relies on knowledge, and you certainly need to drive that culture of making sure that your team is facilitating that knowledge. But at the same time, you know, that knowledge piece is also a benefit of AI. If you are in the kind of industry where you're saying that it is impossible for one person to know everything, AI can do that. You know, I've read that Allstate Insurance, for example, they have Amelia, I think her name is, and she's been trained on 50 insurance topics and insurance regulations across all 50 states. I presume that one person can't know all of those things, right? So if someone's calling in and talking to Amelia, I think Amelia would be better equipped with answering more questions than a person would.
Excellent. All right. Well, we are at time. So with that, we are going to end our session. So any questions we weren't able to get to, we will be passing along to our speakers and sharing those answers along with the recording of this session in our resource hub. So all Summit attendees will be notified when the Resource Hub is live. And thank you so much to all of our wonderful speakers for joining us today. And thank you to everyone else for attending.